This review is going to contain some spoilers, so you've been warned. I'll say this much about Aquaman. It managed to make the lamest character in the Justice League a little tiny bit less lame. Jason Momoa is likable enough to follow him throughout the journey he embarks on in the film without rolling your eyes too much. And if you do, it's probably because of other aspects of the movie. We'll get into that in a minute. But Jason Momoa, solid dude. He looks the part and looks like he's having a blast as the Man-Fish. Or is it Fishman? Naturally, I wasn't expecting much from a DC movie, especially one about Aquaman. I would have been really excited if every Entourage fan's dream became true and this was the Vinny Chase version by James Cameron. But when I noticed the lack of drama, then I realized it was the Jason Momoa movie. Victory! So I went in with zero expectations, literally. I got to watch the extended trailer for this a while back, but I didn't really remember anything about it, so that was nice. Having actually seen the movie instead of prejudging it based on the fact that DC movies are usually awful, I'm happy to say that this movie doesn't completely suck. It sucks a little bit, but not too much. That being said, there is enjoyment to be found in Aquaman. Some of the underwater shots of the city are colorful and beautiful. The story isn't awful, but it isn't too creative with its storytelling either. Jason Momoa has a pretty charming on-screen presence, and I guess that's pretty much it. It's not an ugly movie to look at. The two leads are good-looking people, and they get into some adventures that are fun sometimes. And that's pretty much all the positives that I can say about the movie. It has enough fun in it so it's not super boring, although it does drag in plenty of scenes to make it a problem. Now, let's have some fun and talk about the negatives. This movie is almost 2.5 fucking hours long. It honestly feels like 3, and they could have easily taken out at least 30 minutes out of the film. The main reason why it feels so long is the story's lack of focus. Aquaman starts with a flashback of how Arthur's parents met, his dad being regular old Jango Fett and his mom being Nicole Kidman. A few minutes later, the fish people come and take the mom away because she's the queen of Atlantis and she has to go back to fulfill her oath or something like that. I honestly felt like the whole absent mom and single dad part of the story could have been taken out completely. I understand that they're trying to give him a backstory and create some emotional conflict and all of that, but it's not necessary for this story. Arthur has enough motivation to carry out his goals in the film because literally millions of people would die if he doesn't. If that's not enough motivation for him, then he's not a real hero. The movie doesn't need this boring emotional side to it for him to have a justification to want to save the world.
I've been looking for you.
So a few minutes later, Amber Heard's character shows up and she's hot enough to let go of the fact that her only purpose in this movie is to be hot and to be Arthur's love interest. A pretty forced love interest, by the way. You could argue that she's the one that leads him to Atlantis and all these secret locations they have to visit in the story, but it's established pretty early on that Willem Dafoe's character trained Arthur since he was a little kid. Why not just have him take him back to Atlantis and tell him the secret locations? That's essentially what he ends up doing anyway. Going back to the lack of focus, once we get to Atlantis, there's like this entire storyline revolving around the city's political issues and a war among Atlanteans between the fish people and the crab people. And the kind of regular people that is just confusing as hell. The movie jumps back and forth between Arthur's adventures with Amber Heard, the weird political drama under the sea, and there's also this entire side story thing with a pirate that wants revenge because Arthur let his dad die, and it's just like, focus on one thing, please. Listen, I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna comment that the pirate is some kind of awesome comic book villain or Aquaman's arch nemesis or whatever, and if that's the case, then just make a movie around his story. Make a movie about Aquaman versus this guy. And yeah, that's probably gonna be the idea for the sequel, but in that case, just introduce him in that movie. There's one scene that literally comes out of nowhere where Patrick Wilson's character gives him some Atlantean technology so he can defeat Aquaman, and there's a montage of him in a sweaty tank top welding and modifying his gear. Like it's an entire scene dedicated to that. And okay, so this jumping back and forth between storylines is awful because every time it happens, you just want to get back to Jason Momoa because he's the only consistently entertaining thing about the entire film. There was a point in the movie where Arthur and love interest are looking for like a secret cave or something in the Sahara Desert, and honestly I wasn't drunk or high or anything, but I completely forgot what they were doing there. And then you cut back to the political stuff underwater and it's like, oh, there's this political subplot as well, totally forgot about that too. Moving on to some other weird stuff in the film, the casting choices are very distracting. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be the only one thinking about this, but watching Willem Dafoe in a fish outfit or whatever you want to call it is just weird. And the same goes for red-headed Dolph Lundgren. There's also one thing that kinda worked the first time, but it's used like 3 or 4 times in the movie. I'm talking about people having a civilized conversation and then the action starts. It's a pretty lazy way to start your action sequences, especially when you start repeating it over and over again in the movie. Speaking of action sequences, there's this one scene where Amber Heard is running on rooftops while one of the Atlantean guys is chasing her through the houses, breaking walls and shit. Yeah, that scene is completely ripped off from Fast 5. A very similar shot, or at least it's the same situation, where Vin Diesel is jumping on rooftops and The Rock bursts through a window. The movie also has at least like 20 slow motion moments that seem to be pulled out of a trailer. They're literally trailer shots, including that's featured in every single trailer nowadays.
Oh my god.
The ending is also an enormous clusterfuck that kinda reminded me of the Man of Steel ending, but it's not that bloated or unnecessary, but it's still pretty confusing and loud, and there's just too much stuff going on screen, man. All in all, Aquaman isn't a terrible movie. I talked a lot about the negatives here, but that's just because when I review a film, I find it a whole lot more entertaining to talk about what the film did wrong instead of what it did right. It's fun enough that I didn't walk out super annoyed or saying that it was a complete waste of time or money. So if you love DC movies, then this is gonna be Citizen Kane for you. On the other hand, if you're a smart person that likes watching good films, then you're not missing much if you decide to skip this one.
I'm no leader. I am no king.
They used all kind of rips, ramps, scratches, whispering, shouting, but nothing convinced them that it was the sound of true evil, whatever that means. He then mentions that during the first week of composition on the movie, he couldn't sleep so well. He had nightmares and was hearing sirens outside his house all night.